Coming up on The Cost of Living.
When you have thousands and thousands of guests in the park and they're all lining up for lunch at the same time, it's making things faster in a park in terms of those transactions at every point of sale. Those lines are moving quicker.
What are they doing to make those lines move quicker? Getting rid of cash. Now it's all just tapping and swiping, which is fine. But where does that leave old-fashioned money? Hi, I'm Paul Havershood. Welcome to The Cost of Living. Counting up the till at the end of the day is a time-honored part of running a cash business. But now more places are saying, cash drawer? What's a cash drawer? Also today, you know what's expensive? Concert tickets. Hey, I like Taylor Swift as much as the next person. Unless the next person is paying $2,000 for a seat, then Tay and I, not so much. So, is this just how it is now? Or could there be a way to get in the door without breaking the bank? Up first, fans of late-night infomercials will remember Ron Popeil's Showtime rotisserie. Set it and forget it. All kinds of kitchen gadgets promise to change our lives, but there's only a handful of winners. So why do we pick them? Remember the spiralizer? Turn your veggies into long, fun ribbons the whole family will love. It was supposed to change everything about the way we ate vegetables. Or how about...
Hi, it's Fitz with Slap Chop. You're going to be in a great mood all day because you're going to be slapping your troubles away.
The Slap Chop. Stop having a boring tuna, stop having a boring life. So many kitchen gadgets. So many big promises.
The Flip and Cook is the best solution for speedy and flavorful cooking.
It's the Handy Chef. This baby was designed in the great culinary kitchens of Europe, and it does stuff that food processor only dreams of doing.
It may have been designed in the great culinary kitchens, but the Handy Chef didn't exactly sweep the world. But then there's the Instant Pot. It comes along and sells a bajillion units, spawns countless one-pot chicken recipes. On Amazon alone, you can buy thousands of kitchen devices. Graters, slicers, peelers, cookers, poachers, makers, rotisseries, presses. Oh my gosh, the presses. Well, most of them we ignore, but every now and then, something is worthy of our precious counter space. The Instant Pot, the air fryer. So why do they break through and not the Flip and Cook? Moji Ajele loves to cook for her family, and she really likes her kitchen gadgets.
For example, I have a NutriBullet that would actually make soup. So for a while there, I had lots of soups, and I would make a smoothie. And this one was actually a blender that would heat. It has a heating element in it, and I could use it to make soup when I traveled. So yeah, I traveled with that one for a fair bit.
When she's not making soup on the road, she's making quesadillas in her quesadilla maker, roasting beans in her coffee roaster, or...
My latest one that I love right now that I'm just getting used to is I have an ice cream cone maker.
Sometimes her family doesn't wait for the ice cream. They just eat the cones. For Moji, picking a favorite kitchen gadget is like picking between her children. But if she's forced to choose, it's the air fryer.
I use my air fryer every day, every single day. Just trying to think, what did I make yesterday? Right now, I'm going to do chicken for supper, and I will cook it in my air fryer.
Annual air fryer sales are in the billions of dollars. It's now the fourth most popular cooking device. It's on the kitchen Mount Rushmore. Stovetop, oven, microwave, air fryer.
It's like I can do a lot in it, and it has such a little footprint. Also, energy consumption, right? I think it's great that I don't have to use my full oven every time I need to make something. And then also, I mean, definitely nutrition, especially with the air frying, where I can, air fry as opposed to deep fry.
Air fryers, despite the name, they don't actually fry. They make food crispy by blowing hot air on it. They're basically a small convection oven, only it sits on your counter. If you look at the Instant Pot, it's essentially just a glorified pressure cooker. Neither idea is that new, but they still managed to become the it thing, like the bread maker in the 90s. Before that, the microwave. Every new kitchen device wants to join this list. Most don't make it. When Geeta Johar looks at the success of the air fryer and the Instant Pot, she says it's like peeling back the layers of an onion. She's a professor of consumer psychology at Columbia Business School.
The surface level is about convenience, ease of use, makes it easier for you to cook, it is reliable, all of these utilitarian features.
Health is another big selling point. The original air fryer promises healthy food with up to 90% less fat. That's straightforward enough. But in our consumer brains, the promise of healthy eating doesn't stop there. The products that really hit, like the air fryer, can actually tap into a deeper question.
How do you get some kind of meaning in your life, right? Like, how do you derive meaning in life? And one source of meaning is making healthy food for you and your family. And I think that promise is what underlies the surface promise of good health, is that it helps you to have meaning in life because you're providing health for yourself and your family.
That seems like a lot to put on some crispy chicken wings. But Geeta says think about how much time you spend cooking. The promise of tasty, healthy meals goes beyond just food.
It's giving you control in some sense. It's giving you control over your time. You're getting that back by using this product.
If a product really does make cooking quick and easy, like the commercials say, then that gives us more control over our time. And Geeta says many of us have an innate desire for control. Time-saving kitchen tools appeal to that need. But she says there's a catch. If a device saves us too much time, if it does all the work, we may not like it. The classic example of this is Betty Crocker cake mix. When it came along in the 40s, it was one of the OG time-saving kitchen hacks. In the original recipe, all you had to do was add water, stir, and pop it in the oven. Only, that didn't do so well.
But the minute they said, okay, you have a roll, just add an egg to this, it gave people a roll, and that actually gave them a sense of control. But the feeling that I'm still required, like I'm not redundant, helps.
One little egg made all the difference. Because hey, we're complex. Why we like this thing and not that is sometimes separated by a very fine line.
When products say that we're going to make this so easy for you that you don't have to do anything, then it makes people feel a little small and feel a little like they don't have control. It turns out there's a large segment of people that derive a lot of meaning from manual labor. And this segment of people really don't like to adopt those autonomous products unless they're positioned in a way that says, you know what, you get meaning in your life in other ways, so let us take care of this chore or this task for you, but you can spend more time with your friends.
This is why something like the Roomba isn't for everyone. A robot vacuum may seem like the future we were promised by the Jetsons, but not everyone likes to be sidelined. We still want to feel like we're, adding a little something. This is where the air fryer hits the sweet spot. It can save time, but
you still are doing the preparation. It's not like the air fryer is start to end. It's not taking over the entire cooking task. You're still preparing the stuff to put into the air fryer, and then what comes out is going to be perfect. That's kind of the promise, right?
Most products follow a classic life cycle. Introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. What any product hopes for is a long maturity phase. Decades of steady sales. Like the microwave. Global sales are still more than $10 billion a year, and they're actually trending up. That could be the air fryer. Or it could go the way of the Instant Pot. It came on like gangbusters. In 2016, It was Amazon Prime Day's biggest seller. It sold for $99. So anyone who wanted an Instant Pot probably got one.
The life cycle can be long or short for different products. Things like the Instant Pot may die very quickly and not really have much of a mature phase. This is a fairly durable product. My own Instant Pot is probably 10 years old. So you don't need to replace it that often. And then maybe as new people are entering the market, there's other products that fulfill the same need. And so the Instant Pot is no longer needed.
For now, the air fryer is on top. It's still going strong. But deep in the great culinary kitchens of Europe, we know they're coming up with the next kitchen must-have, and it will change everything.
What you need is the Rolly Egg Master, the fast, easy, pan-free way to make perfect eggs every time.
Watch, we're turning bacon upside down. Introducing Bacon Bowl.
There's a new turbo cooker that gives you even more ease and convenience. The turbo cooker.
Have you ever walked into a store, watched an infomercial or a TikTok, and saw a kitchen gadget that promised to change everything? So you bought it. How'd that work out? Give us a call and tell us about it. Our number is 1-866-550-COST. That's 1-866-550-2678. Or email costofliving@cbc.ca. On your radio and by podcast, this is The Cost of Living. I'm Paul Haberstrood. Cash plays. That's a poker saying. It means you can bet cash on the table without turning it into chips. And it pretty much holds for the real world. Need to buy something? Hey, cash plays. Or at least it used to. Because as our producer Ellis Cho says, more places still want your money, but what they don't want is your cash.
That's 1993.
Almost anywhere you go, you can buy stuff with a flick of your wrist. Coffee, gas, a 60-inch flat screen with surround sound. It's fast, it's easy, and it's the way most Canadians pay these days.
I can't remember the last time I walked with cash on me. It's always, just tap your debit card and just move along.
I never carry cash, so I would be fine with card only. Yeah, I find it easier for sure, especially because you can pay on your phone now too. So I like to do that.
In the last 5 years, the use of cash has dropped by 40%. And in some places, it's dropped by 100%. A growing number of venues in Canada are going cashless, like stadiums, concert halls, and amusement parks. Canada's Wonderland went cashless during the pandemic. Then, they just stuck with it.
When you have thousands and thousands of guests in the park and they're all lining up for lunch at the same time, it's making things faster in a park in terms of those transactions at every point of sale. Those lines are moving quicker.
Grace Peacock is with Canada's Wonderland.
And people's time, is very important to them when they're at a place like Canada's Wonderland. When they want to get on as many roller coasters as they can, we don't want to be holding them up.
Getting rid of cash means people get their burgers faster and take more loops on the Yukon Striker. For the park, it means no more late-night bank runs.
From a business side, we're not having to handle cash on site anymore. That's a big process in needing to account for those other registers at the end of the day. Going contactless makes it easier for us, but also safer too.
And no cash on site means less chance of theft. So is this the beginning of the end of cash? Not so fast. According to a recent Payments Canada survey, more than half of Canadians say they don't want to let go of dough.
I just prefer to pay with cash, to know that that money's leaving my hand And to see that, I feel I can do a better job of keeping track of my finances.
I think it's not a good thing because you should be given the choice to have to pay with a cash or card. You should not be forced into doing that.
In parts of the U.S., it's illegal for businesses to refuse cash. Laws have been passed in places like New York City, San Francisco, and some in Canada want to see the same thing here.
Yeah, I took my grandson to watch a Winnipeg Jets game.
Ted Falk is a Conservative MP from Manitoba.
I thought I would buy him a hot dog and a drink, and so we went to a vendor and I presented cash. And then they told me, no, we're completely cashless here. You either have debit or credit, but that's it. I said, really? Well, what if I didn't have that? Well, they said, then you're going hungry.
He recently introduced a private member's bill to make sure cash doesn't disappear. Not all Canadians have access to debit or credit cards. And, he says, there are concerns around privacy.
Every time you make a electronic transaction, you're exchanging private information. And whereas when you use cash, it's completely anonymous.
Many cashless venues like Canada's Wonderland and Rogers Centre have come up with a workaround. A reverse ATM. You insert a $50 bill and it spits out a debit card. Because they may not take your cash, but they still want your money. For the Cost of Living, I'm Ellis Cho.
This is The Cost of Living. I'm Paul Haberstrood. Pick a big tour. If it didn't just play a stadium near you, it could be about to. Pink, Coldplay, Iron Maiden, the Jonas Brothers. Last year, Beyoncé herself stopped in Canada. At that time, our producer Danielle Nerman went to Toronto to see what it would take to get a ticket. Tickets to Beyoncé are not cheap.
The first ticket is $1,200, but the one right next to it is $11,000, and then it's $18,000, and then it's $19,000, $26,000, $29,000, $30,000.
$30,000, Danielle Nerman.
That's really what Zaid Gamse saw when he looked up ticket prices to one of Beyonce's concerts.
I am not paying that much money for like a concert ticket.
I guess not.
Okay, so he doesn't want to spend thousands, but Zaid is a huge Beyonce fan.
But the money, Danielle, even if you're a huge fan, some of these ticket prices are just wild.
I know. I mean, look at what happened with Taylor Swift. Even when a system was put in to give fans a shot at paying a reasonable price for tickets, resellers still got their hands on them and were listing them for hundreds of dollars above face value.
So if you're a fan, is this just the way of things now? Like you're kind of at the mercy of Ticketmaster, bots, resellers. It feels like the game is kind of rigged.
It does. It's bad. But what if I told you there might be a way to beat those resellers at their own game? By using the power of economics.
Well, then I'm listening.
All right. So I enlisted Zaid to help me try out this idea. Met him in Toronto a couple hours before the Beyoncé concert, and our plan was to wait until the very last minute to buy tickets. The theory that as it got closer to showtime, Paul, resellers who couldn't sell those tickets at those wildly high prices would start lowering them.
So you're talking supply and demand.
Too much supply, not enough demand. That is what brings prices down.
Well, it does. But would it work for something like Beyoncé? Because you got to figure that's a pretty hot ticket.
It is, but there were tons of expensive tickets still floating around, weeks, days, even hours before her Toronto concerts. So she had back-to-back shows. So I was able to see what happened with ticket prices for the first one. I was watching them online. An hour before the show started, ticket prices started tanking. I saw a $1,000 floor seat drop to $170. So I was pretty sure Zaid and I would be able to score cheap seats to Beyonce's next show. But not just cheap seats, Paul, great seats.
All right, what were you looking to pay?
$200 a ticket.
All right, not cheap, but not $30,000. What did you end up doing?
We started with StubHub and SeatGeek. Those are the resale websites where anyone can sell tickets. But every time Zaid thought he'd found a ticket that was cheap and in a great section, it just disappeared.
Now it's just like an algorithmic bidding war without anybody's faces visible, and it's trash. I hate it. It's disgusting.
Okay, so StubHub, that's a no-go.
No, but thankfully that's not the only place to get tickets. You can still go old school, Paul, and go outside the venue.
Concert tickets! Concert tickets!
Scalpers, like it's Metallica on the Speed of Sound tour.
Believe it or not, people still try to hawk tickets outside concert stadiums. The other place you can find people selling off their tickets is Facebook on buy and sell groups. Zaid and I decided that's where we'd focus our efforts because we were seeing some great deals.
And how'd that go?
Well, before we made any offers, I talked to Shiraz Mawani. He's an independent ticket broker in Toronto, and he went over some of the risks. Like, when you're dealing with sellers on Facebook, you need to ask yourself this.
Is their Facebook profile actually look legit? Like, do they seem like a real person?
So if the seller just created their profile, like, I don't know, a day ago, that's probably a red flag.
Yeah, the potential to get scammed here feels high.
You have to be careful. Even Shiraz, who is a ticket broker, has been burned. So he told me this story. It happened when he found last-minute tickets to a Leafs game on Craigslist. Lower bowl, fantastic price. He says the seller was really responsive, really friendly, and he sent the guy an e-transfer. And then?
Nothing. No response. The guy disappears. I try and email him. No, emails bouncing back. Nothing I can do at this point. And now I'm out $650. I still have to find seats for this individual I was trying to buy seats for, and I've just been scammed.
So he's out $6
Yeah. When you're dealing with resellers online, you gotta use PayPal. That way you're protected if the person who sold you the tickets doesn't give you the tickets.
What happens if you use a site like StubHub? Will it do anything for you?
Yeah, they'll refund your tickets if things go wrong. But I mean, if things go wrong, your night is ruined. That's what happened to Amanda Diaz. She bought a ticket off a StubHub reseller, but when she rolled up to the gate at Rogers Centre for the Beyoncé concert, she found out that her ticket had already been scanned, so she couldn't get in.
We've spent currently over $100 in Ubers. I don't know how much money in outfits. It was girls' night. I have a 4-year-old at home, so I made major arrangements.
She even lined up babysitting. I hope things went better for you.
It was a crazy night, Paul. I mean, someone tried to sell us tickets in a section that didn't even exist.
Well, those aren't going to be very good seats then, are they?
No, and I mean, so many scammers. Like, this concert was in Toronto, right? And there's people from Florida and Mexico City telling me, hey, I've got seats for you in your price range. And we didn't want to deal with that. 1 hour to go, tickets are disappearing and prices are dropping. But we still didn't have seats. And then, 15 minutes before Beyoncé was supposed to take the stage, we found a pair of tickets on Facebook in our price range.
So your theory is working. The tickets are getting cheaper and they're becoming available and you're going to get some.
Yeah, and they were put up for offer by this guy named Ben. And so we reached out. He sent them.
He sent tickets, and his name is not even Ben.
It's Matt.
Wait, are these actually from Ticketmaster? Let's check. Yes, view tickets. Oh my God, am I going to see Beyonce tonight? High five.
It worked.
Well, Ben, Matt, whatever the guy's name was, he only sent us one ticket. But it was front row in the section just above the floor. And get this, the face value for that seat was $680, and we got it for $200.
I love the value here. But you said just one ticket?
Yeah, the seller ghosted us. I found out later that he'd sold that second ticket for more money to someone else. But that's the thing about this strategy, Paul. It's a gamble, and you have to be prepared not to go to the concert.
So, who got the ticket?
Who got the ticket? Zaid, of course. I mean, I like Beyonce, but Zaid, he loves Beyonce.
I really don't really have that many high expectations. I'm kidding. I have the highest expectations because it's Beyonce. I feel like this is kind of like almost the only concert you need to see. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. So I'm in the front row. There will be nobody but in front of me. This is Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I hope you have the best time. Take pictures.
I will.
Okay,
And I'll
bye-bye.
send them to you.
Bye. Bye.
I hope you had the best time. Thanks, Danielle.
You're welcome.
The story you just heard aired earlier this season. That's all for this week. The Cost of Living is based in Calgary. And if you're looking for one more way to listen, you can now stream live radio on the CBC News app. You can also get all the news on the CBC News app, so that's appropriate. The show is produced by Danielle Nerman, Ellis Cho, and Jennifer Keene, with help from Caroline Ferris. I'm Paul Habersrud. Thanks for listening.